In the summer of 1977, the Simpsons vanished without a trace over the Pacific Ocean. Nothing was ever heard from this until 227 days later, when a boy was washed up on the shores of Mexico. Pisimolito Patel, better known as Pi, tells his captivating story of survival and adventure.
Without Richard Parker, I wouldn't be alive today to tell you my story. I felt excited for my new life on the day of the departure. The Simpson was moving along normally until no one was sick.
Even stranger than his incredible survival was the presence of a myriad of animals on the lifeboat, such as a zebra, an orangutan, a hyena, and worst of all, a full-grown Bengal tiger.
The ecosystem in the lifeboat was amazing. Some of the behaviors of the animals surprised me, and I grew up in the zoo. After 7 months of thorough testing of God, my lifeboat finally reached Chumatin. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see my family again.
During the political instability in India, the Patel family decides to move to Canada. Several days into the journey, their ship sank into the depths of Pacific Ocean, seemingly leaving no survivors, that is, until the lifeboat washed up onto the Mexican coast. The one lifeboat that survived the ship contained, according to Pi, a total of 1 human survivor.
The zebra had broken his leg from falling off the ship onto the lifeboat. As expected, the hyena promptly ate it. It was a horrifying scene. The hyena ate the zebra inside the mouth. The zebra exhibited the most incredible will for survival. He survived for 1 night without half his liver and his intestines before he finally gave up the next morning. Then there was Orange Juice. I always thought she was weak, but when the hyena attacked her, she actually fought back. I miss her at times. I was devastated when she was murdered. Finally, as the hyena was about to attack me, Richard Parker saved me and ate the hyena. I can't tell you how amazed I am at the brief ecosystem we had on the boat. After that, it was just me and Richard Parker. There were enough supplies for 30 people in the lifeboat, but it wasn't enough for Richard Parker and I. Flying fish, turtles, and Doritos, soon I became a normal part of my diet. I still can't believe I got over my vegetarianism. I had to train him not to attack me.
Do you know how I did that?
I realized each time I blew the whistle and rocked the boat, I instilled fear in Richard Parker. With practice, every time I blew the whistle, Richard Parker instinctively felt fear. Our supplies were almost gone. Richard Parker was restless. I thought I was going to die, and I wanted to die too. It was almost a miracle that we stumbled upon my island. It was like a floating group of trees and algae, but to my horror, I found that the plants were acidic and carnivorous. I promptly left the island. Soon enough, I was washed up on the Mexican shore. You guys know everything after that, right? Life on a lifeboat isn't much of a life. It is like an endgame in chess, a game with few pieces. The elements couldn't be more simple, nor the stakes high. I really believe 2 things kept me alive, Richard Parker and God. If it weren't for them, I couldn't be telling you this story today. It was also God who gave me this happy family I have today.
While Pi's story of survival is a delightful story to hear, is it actually true? When Japanese maritime authorities questioned him further, he gave another story. A story where instead of animals killing each other off, it was humans. We traveled to Japan to meet Mr. Tomohiro Okamoto, retired member of the Maritime Department in the Japanese Ministry of Transport. He was the lead interviewer who uncovered Pi's other story.
I had many doubts about Mr. Patel's story about tigers, so I pursued him further for something that reflects more accurately what happened. He told me a story where, instead of a hyena, there was a despicable French cook, a Chinese sailor instead of a zebra, and his mother instead of an orangutan. Richard Parker must have been Pi. The story with humans was rather gruesome. The way each person was killed was paralleled exactly by his animal story. That is how horrifying it was.
Why would you choose to believe the more gruesome version of the story?
I already expected to believe that carnivorous trees are floating in the ocean. Why is it that all these animals were able to board the lifeboat, while no other passengers were able to? How is it that a tiger can suppress its hunger long enough not to eat pie? It would have also been impossible to invent that story within a couple of minutes, especially with all the parallels between the two of them. I too would choose to believe in the animal story if I were Pi. I don't blame Pi for lying. I completely understand Pi's feelings. However, for the purposes of our investigation, we needed the truth, even if it didn't matter in the end. We believe what we see.